Hello and welcome to It's a Boat Thing, Not So Technical. In today's episode we are going to be looking at fire on a boat. We're going to look at whether you can hold a fire, whether you can stop a fire, or if the worst comes to the worst, can you get out from the fire? To that end we'll be looking at various escape routes from the boat, different apparatus you can use to fight the fire. Let's go and have a little look at what we have available to us. So before we get into whether you can actually escape from the boat, and as you can see there, we have a front escape hatch as well as our standard route off the back of the aft deck. Let's have a look at the equipment that really is a basic must-have on the boat. Now what you can see here primarily are these two pieces of equipment here. One is a fire blanket, and we'll get into that a little bit later as well. But one of the most important things, and these are both required by the boat safety inspector, is things like the fire extinguisher. Now you can see this one is a powder extinguisher. This on a boat fights most types of fire, electrical as well as liquid. You can get other fire extinguishers, you can get other means of extinguishing it, but what you're looking for is to just buy you time to get off the boat if required. First off, let's tackle means of escape, because at the end of the day, if there's a fire on board the boat, the first thing you're going to want to do is get off the boat. Now we have two means of getting off the boat depending on where the fire is occurring. Let's assume it's midsection of the boat, something on the cooker's gone up and got out of control. At the front of the boat we have an escape hatch. I've just turned the camera around. Now what you can see here, it looks like a skylight or window if you like in the front portion of the boat, and this is actually in our front cabin, and we'll look at how to use this in a moment. We've popped this open just for demonstration here, but essentially this is a hatch that can open completely and you can escape from that aperture. The other means of escape is through the back of the boat and then onto the side, and away you go. We come forward into our front cabin. You can see in the ceiling there is the escape hatch. Now obviously if you can't go out through the door that's behind me, you'd open this, open it up, throw the escape hatch back, and then we would climb out through that by means of standing on the front bed, and straight out the hatch we go. So we're going to attempt to climb out of it from the inside. So we would open the escape hatch, throw it open, and then climbing on the bed straight out, and we're away. Okay, so there we are. That's how we would use the two methods of escape to get off the boat. Now let's have a little look at how we would use a fire blanket. So another piece of equipment that the boat safety scheme asks for, this is, as you probably know, a certificate to show the boat is safe in all aspects of its use. They ask for a fire blanket to be put in, and this has to be kept close at hand, maybe even on a wall, in a cupboard, but you've got to be able to get hold of it. Let's show you how we use this piece of equipment. So, a fire blanket. What's it look like? It looks like a square red box, two tabs on it, and the word fire blanket. It should have a kite mark on it, which you can see here, and that shows it's fit for use and fit for the job. Now the way you deploy one of these, and I'm doing this a little bit freehand because it should be fixed to the wall, but you pull the tabs and the blanket comes out, you unfold the blanket, and you'll notice it's only about 1 metre squared, And that's not because it's there to protect you, it's there to smother the fire. You turn it so your hands, you can see that, are on the inside, and you place it over whatever's on fire, chip pan, whatever you're doing. That will take away the oxygen, that will take away the fire. So this is a new fire blanket. Actually got that new fire blanket smell, which is very lovely. However, you need to check this every now and again. And that means you need to make sure that these are sewn correctly still. There are no holes in the fire blanket. The stitching is complete, and there are no frayed edges on any of the fire blanket extremities. And you can see that clearly there. This is a new one. If you have holes, you have frayed edges, the tabs are missing, or it's not been stowed in the box correctly, buy a new one. 10 or 15 pounds will get you an up-to-date and in-spec fire blanket. Part of the boat safety certification is a functioning smoke detector, just in case the boat happens to be alight and you're asleep and you didn't notice. But every time we get on board, we test it, just to make sure it's working. We also have carbon monoxide detector, and again we do the same thing with that. Every time we're on board, we test to make sure that it's functioning. So as we said a little while ago, we'd show you how to operate one of these, a fire extinguisher. Now, we did go through that you have various different types of extinguisher for different types of fire. This one is a powder extinguisher and seems to do for most emergencies, if you like, on board a boat. So we're going to show you in real time exactly how to operate one of these, because if you've not done it before, it's not tricky. You can do it, but you need to be able to do it in the heat of the moment and do it efficiently. Otherwise there's very little point in getting stuck in the first place. So one of the periodical checks that you do when you're checking the pressure on your fire extinguisher to make sure it's still good to go, this is a powder extinguisher. You give it a shake. The powder can settle at the bottom. It can clump together. So when you come to need to use it, you may not get the powder coming out that you need. You shake it every now and again. That makes sure it's all separated inside, and then you're good to go. So in real time, we're going to set one of these off and show you how to do it. Before we start, just a couple of words of notation really. This is biodegradable powder that we got in this one. We're going to set it off and then we will clear up afterwards. So before everyone starts phoning into the channel to say, what are you doing with that? We will make sure that we clear it up afterwards. Anyway, what we have here, we have a safety bit that comes off. I will put that in my pocket again so that can go in the bin later. And we have a safety pin. Now this should just come out, a bit like a hand grenade, not quite as exciting, and that now releases the trigger. Our pressure is good, and I will show you how this looks. You're aiming for the base of the fire, and that should extinguish it. The powder will smother the flames, that smothers the oxygen intake, that extinguishes the fire. Now it's important to know where your fire extinguishers are kept, obviously. On a boat this size we have a minimum of 3, one in the front cabin, one in the centre cabin and one in the aft cockpit of the boat. Now ideally you don't want to stay and fight a fire with a small fire extinguisher. The most important thing is to get off the boat, but they're there if you need them, and you should make sure that they're in date and that the pressure on them is correct as well. They have a small pressure gauge at the top of them and that should show this. So hopefully that was of some help. As always, if you like what you see, then please comment below. The subscribe button is in the corner. We'll see you next time.